أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. All praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa tabarak wa ta'ala, our nourisher, our sustainer. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow His peace and blessings upon our master and leader Nabi Mustafa Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, on his companions, on his family, on the entire ummah until the end of time. Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Beloved mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, indeed, it is a great honor for me to introduce our guest speaker for today. I'm sure that our guest speaker don't need any introduction. As well known nationally and internationally, it is none other than Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, the founder and the chairman of Give of the Givers, who does a splendid work in the communities, in locally and internationally as well. So without further ado, inshallah, we'll call upon Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman to address us, inshallah, for this pre-Jum'ah talk. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakallah Shaykh. Assalamu alaikum, trustees, management, musallis, people in the masjid, people outside. Jazakallah very much. Thank you very much for this invite to speak to you today. I'm going to cover several concepts, depending how much we can cover in the time. But I want to bring in concepts about spirituality, relationships with non-Muslim, relationships with human beings in general, speaking about instructions from tariqah, from Sufi orders, and also the current situation in the country, using Eastern Cape as an example, and our role as Muslims. This morning, whilst I was in the apartment, the message came. My wife gives a message to me and says, today, the 14th of January, 2010, our teams left for Haiti. And I said, that's a very good starting point to talk about. 12 January 2000, and you have to listen very carefully. There's a lot of messages to go along as I speak. 12 January 2010, I walked into my flat early in the morning. I just returned from Syria before the madness started. I got a call from Prime Media to say, there's a massive earthquake in Haiti. Are you guys responding? So I said, I've just walked into my house. So they said, put the TV on. I see the picture, and I said, on the screen itself, the pictures that I'm seeing, I can tell you now that at least 25,000 people are dead. The earthquake killed 250,000 people in 40 seconds. They asked, and one of the reasons for that, as I said, I'm going to give you messages, is no structured talk, it's lessons. One of the reasons why that happened is that a lot of our buildings were not properly built. Ethics is a big problem in our country. Spirituality and morality is a big problem in our country. It's not only in government. It's within religious orders, it's within the corporates, it's within business, it's within families, it's in the wills, it's in testaments, everything. There's a serious problem about ethics. These are things we need to fix. So, the buildings were not properly built. No proper plans, no proper engineering structures. Yes, the earthquake was big, it was almost 9 on the Richter scale. Yes, the epicenter was very close to Port-au-Prince, which is the capital. Yes, the earthquake was very shallow, which causes more destruction. But part of the problem was the houses were not properly built. So when one fell, the others went like a pack of cards. And a whole lot of people died. They should not have died. Yes, life and death is in Allah's hands, but human beings have to do what is correct. So people died because of that. It's an issue of ethics. So they asked, are you responding? I said, yes. Within an hour, our search and rescue teams will be ready. That was a world first for us. We never had search and rescue teams before. But following the Pakistan earthquake, we decided in the evolution of disaster response, we need to have a search and rescue team. So we prepared our search and rescue team, and they responded. I called DERCO, because I got an excellent relationship with government, and I said, I need visas. And we'll go via Paris. You had a choice of America or France. And the problem with the terrorism issue is going to just delay us. In disaster response, you minimize obstacles, because we need to get there fast, quickly, efficiently to do the job to save lives. So we said we'll opt via Paris. The French consulate in Joburg was excellent. Within 10 minutes, all the documents were issued. Schengen visa given for free. You don't have to be on site present. They just give us the visas. We got sorted out, and then we said we'd give Air France the business as a courtesy, to give the airline of that country the courtesy of the business. So I told them, will you get my teams to Port-au-Prince, which is the capital of Haiti? They said, yes, we will. I told them, no, you won't. They said, yes, we will. I said, no, you won't. I said, the airport will close. They said, the airport is open. I said, it's open, it will close. They said, no, it's open. So I said, give me a guarantee in writing that you will get my teams to Port-au-Prince. And I knew it's never going to happen. The airline gave me a guarantee in writing. Which airline gives you a guarantee in writing? I got a guarantee in writing. My teams go to the airport. The priest comes. It's a mixed group, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, all mixed up. We work all religions, all colors, all nationalities. It's about humanity. This is what the Prophet ﷺ has taught us. And they go to the airport. Whilst at the airport, I'm in Pietermaritzburg. I make a call to the Catholic Society of South Africa in Johannesburg. And I tell the guy who picks up the phone on the other side, I need the Pope. And the guy gets a shock. What does a Muslim guy want to do with the Pope? So I said, we Muslims, we're connected all over the world. Are you Christian guys not connected all over the world? So he said, okay, but what is it for? So I said, I need a Catholic organization to receive my teams in the Dominican Republic and take them across into Port-au-Prince. And I said, Catholics are mostly in that country, so I need you to organize the Pope and sort that out. So, of course, he called somebody, and 3 hours later he calls me. He said, done. Catholic Relief Services, CRS, and Caritas will meet your teams in Dominican Republic, and they will take them across into Haiti. Fine. My teams land. I'm sorting out things in South Africa. My teams land, led by Ahmed Ban, and a secondary person, and they both land, get on the other side, at 6 o'clock in the morning. They call me and they say, we've got a problem. I said, I know you got a problem. Port-au-Prince is closed, isn't it? They said, yes, the airport is closed. I said, don't worry. Whilst you guys are flying, we already made alternate arrangements. Within 2 hours, you guys are flying to Dominican Republic. The flights are issued, the seats are issued, everything's sorted out. You guys are flying, here's the contact number on the other side. They get to Dominican Republic, they're received by the airport. Now remember, if we have this culture of Muslims only, work with our own people only, you're not going to achieve anything in the world. All human beings are created by the same creator. There's no different creator for Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus. There's only one creator. And the laws apply to everybody the same way. And I'll explain that a little later if there's enough time. So in any case, they get to Dominican Republic, board, please come South African team. Passports, visas, accommodation, food, water, whatever else they needed, sorted out. Mixed team received by Catholic group. They take them across the border into Haiti. There's chaos, looting, shooting in the streets, shooting on the compound. The guys are afraid, but they pray, they have faith, they have trust, because people who go here from mixed religions all believe that the higher power is looking after them. And they gel so well, they understand each other well. It doesn't matter what religion you come from. And they support each other and they get to the compound. The stench of death is everywhere. 20th January 2010, 8 days after the earthquake, my team's ears sound in the rubble. And they said we need to go in. In the Catholic Church that collapsed, they pull out 64-year-old Enazizi alive. It's a world first. Never before in the history of the African continent has any team from the African continent taken anybody out of the rubble alive in a country outside the African continent. And our teams did it the first in Haiti. And when the lady came up, 8 days, no oxygen, no food, no water, no medicine, fractured hip, completely enclosed with dust and rock. And when she came out, her first words were, I love God. You instilled hope and faith in a human being thousands of kilometers away by bringing them alive. And her first words were, remember the Almighty. Her second words was, I love you. Love knows no color, it knows no class, it knows no religion, it knows no race. Love is universal. And she told them, I love you. The medical teams came in the back, behind the search and rescue team. We always had medical teams first, but that was not ideal. We needed first search and rescue teams, and we worked toward it, and we achieved it. So search and rescue teams came, medical teams came from the back. Countries from the north were there. The medical team said, very difficult to work here. Everything is destroyed. The South African team said, leave this to us. They all trained in these universities in our country. The quality of our teaching is excellent. The quality of our professionals is excellent. But above all, they have the heart and the spirituality to sacrifice, to look beyond color, race, and religion, and to work with an open mind. So when they went across, the people of the other countries said, if you want healing, and you want health, and you want life, then go to the dream team. And the dream team is from South Africa. But my teams broke down. They saw people come from other countries and operate on people, and the people died. They came to practice, and they practiced on other people's children and other people, and they died. The worst form of ethics is when you take somebody's life, and if you have one bad ethics in simple things, it becomes bad ethics in something else, and bad ethics in something else, and the bad ethics grow unless you change your system of ethics. They went to the church, they washed the walls, and they cleaned the floors. And they said, bring. The Mexican doctors were working with our paramedics. And when they came, they saw that the amputations on the children were not done correctly. So if the hand was cut off, you now have to cut off above the elbow. And if the ankle was cut off, you have to cut above the knee. You came to practice on somebody that's not your child. And you have caused such an inconvenience and a disability for children because you came with no ethics. And after a while, when they had to keep doing amputations, my teams broke down. They said, we can't do this anymore. It was time to change them and send the next team in. The worst part was this. After they finished and they told the child, go home. The child said, go home, where? Where home? There is no home. There are no parents. There is no family members. There's no clothing. There's no food. There's no medical care. Where do we go? Not much different in areas all over the world where people have difficulty. It's not only in Palestine. It's not only in Afghanistan. It's not only in Syria. It's not only in Iraq. Difficulty is all over the world. And all human beings are human beings. And we need to respond to all human beings equally. Because the Prophet of Islam, if he was here, he won't select and say, okay, let's go Muslims only. He would never do that. He was rahmatan lil alameen, mercy unto all creation. We stand up in some of the masjids and we said, we're reading Salami. We're going to Makkah and Medina. We're going to stand in front of the Rawza Mubarak. Are you really following his teaching? Are you selective in what you do? Are you selective in your ethics, your practices, your behavior? Yes, you did 5 times a day. You go to Umrah 4 times a year. You go to Hajj every year. But have you understood the real spirituality of Islam and done what is correct? Or you select what suits you? Are you ethical in your business? Do you rob the insurance companies? Do you claim for things that are not correct? Islam is not some divided thing. It's a total practice of everything that we have to do. So the teams go and they go back. And now they go back to where all this started. You see, my entrance into Tariqah came through a non-Muslim. I moved to Pietermaritzburg in 1986. I finished internship in 1985, and I wanted to be a specialist physician. I wanted to do internal medicine. But Allah made it such that there was no post for me. We need to understand in everything that we do. Always look for the good in what may appear bad. We think, oh, it didn't work out for me. I didn't get the job. I didn't get the business. I didn't get the right doctor. I didn't get the right school. I didn't get the right guy. Always look for the good in what appears to be bad. Because Allah may have something more merciful for you in what He doesn't give you. He always says, what I take away from you, I give you something better. So, I couldn't get the post. And I was going to private practice. I didn't want to go into private practice. But I had to go into private practice. The year I moved to Maritzburg, January 1986, my butcher comes to me and he said, there's a guy here, an Afrikaner guy, that comes from Pretoria. He came to teach French at the University of Natal. He came to teach French, and he was on a scholarship in America, and he was in France, and he was here, there, and everywhere, but he needs a doctor. So I said, okay, I'll see him, no problem. So me and Afrikaner guy start talking. One day he tells me that you should go to Turkey and meet a spiritual teacher. So I said, what do you know about a spiritual teacher? He said, I was in America. I was dejected. I was very sad. I was walking through the streets aimlessly. Suddenly from the corner, I see a man making eye contact with me. And my heart tells me to follow that man. So I walk and I follow that man and I go to St. John the Divine. St. John the Divine is a massive church in New York. And he said, in that church he went, and that man led a zikr in the church. And everybody joined in the zikr of all religions in the church. They had an open-hearted approach. And he said, when I spoke to that man, my heart and my soul lit up. But that man passed away in 1985. So I said, then what do I see in Turkey? He said, you see the new one. There's a new spiritual teacher. He's based in Istanbul. So I made a joke. I said, Mullah, it's 1986. I still haven't seen Cape Town. When am I going to see Istanbul? He said something very significant. He said, what God wills happens. There's a time and a place. And the time and the place was August 1991. It's a long story, but my wife and I got to Turkey in 1991. Now there's a problem. January 1991, 15 January, was the Gulf War. The Gulf War polarized the world. It was understood that Christians and Jews and non-Muslims on one side and Muslims on the other side. That the West was attacking the East. Coming from an apartheid country where you lost your land and your shop and your house and everything else doesn't help. You go to Turkey, and when you get there, you see people of all religions, Americans, Jews, Christians, Russians, Hindus, in a Muslim-only place. And you're trying to understand, how can this be possible? Russians bombed us in Afghanistan. Israelis and Palestinians have problems in Palestine all the time. Muslims and Hindus have problems in India, in the Babri Masjid and everything else like that. And with Americans, we have problems all over the world. How can they be in a Muslim holy place? No friction, no discord, no disrespect, only love. And I said, is this really possible? The Sufi Sheikh looked at my eyes, the man I'm supposed to meet. He looked at my eyes. Now, normally you come, like I come here, Mr. Chuan said, how are you? When did you come? How are you feeling? How's everything okay? That's how people will greet you. You go to a country, they'll tell you, where did you come from? How's the weather? You just stay good here, you enjoy it. The Sheikh never said something like that. His first words to me was, what do you see? He read my soul. That I was feeling confused. And I told my wife, I think we came to the wrong place. But keep an open mind. He said, my son, what do you see? I said, Sheikh, I am confused. I see people of all religion, all races, people we had conflict with in a Muslim holy place. He said, you see right. Mankind is one single nation. That's Quranic. The Lord of all mankind is one. One Lord created all mankind. We just know him by different names. Any teacher, imam, sheikh, priest, rabbi, pandit, if they preach violence, extremism, terrorism, conflict and discord, they're not a man of God. Don't follow them. Anyone who teaches love, kindness, compassion and mercy is a man of God. Follow him. And I could see the understanding and the respect with everyone, and I left. My wife and I left. I was outside the Rawza Mubarak on Hajj, May 1992. I said to the Prophet, I don't understand all this. But if it's meant for me, I want to go back there. 6 August 1992, I landed up in Turkey. It was a Thursday night, 10 o'clock after a zikr program. The sheikh was sitting in the corner of the room, and I was sitting in the other corner. He makes eye contact with me. And in fluent Turkish, I don't understand a word of Turkish. But I understood every single word that he said. He said, my son, I'm not asking you. I'm instructing you to form an organization. The name in Arabic will be Waqful Waqifin. When we translate it, it meant gift of the givers. You will serve all people, of all races, of all religions, all colors, all classes, all cultures, of any geographical location and of any political affiliation. But you will serve them unconditionally. You will expect nothing in return, not even a thank you. In fact, in what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, expect to get a kick up your back. If you don't get a kick up your back, regard that as a bonus. Serve people with love, kindness, compassion, and mercy. And remember, the dignity of man is foremost. So if someone is down on the ground, don't push them down further. Hold them, elevate them. Wipe the tear of a grieving child. Caress the head of an orphan. Say words of good counsel to a widow. These things are free. They don't need money. They're free. They don't cost anything. And in everything that you do, be the best at what you do. And that's why we're so fussy about the type of teams, the type of projects that we do, and we send them all over the world and in the country. Be the best at what you do. Not because of ego, but because you're dealing with human life, human emotion, and human dignity. Then he said, Khairun nas may yanfa'un nas. And that's our motto you see it on our shirts and on our cars. Best among people are those who benefit mankind. And he said it 3 times. And he said, listen carefully. I am not saying Muslim. I'm not saying Arab. And I'm not saying Indian. I'm saying mankind unconditionally. And then he said, the most important message is this, my son, that whatever you do is done through you and not by you. You can't claim credit for anything. In our business, in our studies, in our work, we are not clever. Don't ever think you did it because I did it. You did nothing. You only did it because Allah Almighty allowed you to do it. And He gave you the skill and the permission to do that. And He can take that away in 10 seconds. And you saw what COVID did? It took away livelihoods in hours. Companies closed. People lost jobs. People lost lives. People lost family members. Universities came to a standstill. Schools and business came to a standstill. He took it in hours. Nothing stops Him from doing that. But He always has this big message that my mercy outstrips my wrath. Forgiveness, I am key. Everything says astaghfirullah. So this was, and so whatever we do, we need to understand that it comes through us or by the gift of Allah. Then I asked him, I said, you said all these things in Turkish. I don't speak Turkish. How I understood what you were saying? He said, my son, when the hearts connect and the souls connect, the words become understandable. I told him, you know, I'm a doctor in private practice. I got 3 practices in a place called Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. You told me to do these things. What am I supposed to do? And when am I supposed to do them? He told me one line. You will know. For 29 years, I do know. What to do, how to do, when to do, what to touch, what not to touch. It's a spiritual gift. I need to understand that. In every way, I know what to do. And instantly, with that same time I walked out of there, the inspiration came, respond to the civil war in Bosnia. And we responded with 31 containers. We went back in November with 8 containers. And in 1993, we designed the world's first containerized mobile hospital. He said, be the best. Nobody could match us. It's the only one of its kind in the world that time that we built for South African technology, and we took it across. But that gave me the answer, what he said, you will know. I then knew that Gift of the Givers was going to be a disaster response agency. It would develop in disasters, and everything else that comes around it will be secondary. Our primary focus is disasters. Let me swap a little bit to the Eastern Cape and take you to the current situation there. We've been working in the Eastern Cape for quite some time now. There's drought, there's hunger, there's medical issues, there's water problems, and there's a lot of difficult issues. And I told you that people's faith in their lives increased when you do good things. Ali is here, and they went in a place called Ngobo in Eastern Cape a year ago. And as the trucks came up the mountain, an old lady in a walking stick came forward. Non-Muslim, Christian, black rural area, not Muslim. She comes forward and she tells Ali and the team, he answered my prayer. I knew he won't let me down. I was praying for God Almighty to send us some assistance in our area, and the green people came. They call us the green people. The green people came, and they are the people of God Almighty. Yeah, we are instruments. We say, shukr to Allah using us. But your money, your support, and everything possible made people's faith in Allah Almighty increase. Wherever we go, they say, you guys come with hope and support. September last year, the CEOs of the hospitals were crying. They said, we don't have food to feed our patients. We can't go home. How do you bring a person to hospital and don't give them food? And we made food available for 32 hospitals. In November, they came back, another 40 hospitals, and we supported them food for hospitals. Now let's reverse the situation a little bit. Let's imagine that we go to these hospitals. See, for you to understand the crisis is to put yourself and your family in the crisis. You go to hospital, you see a broken down building, less medical staff, no proper food, you want halal food in the hospital, no proper beds, no functional equipment, you say you don't want to go there. You want to go somewhere else. But that is a lot of millions of people in this country, in this continent, and throughout the world. But we are number one in complaining. We don't have gratitude. We need to understand that what Allah has given us is abundance. We need to understand the first principle of gratitude. When I take my teams across other parts of the world, they come back and say, we will never complain ever again. We understand gratitude is something very, very important. So when we respond, what happens in June last year? Again, they were in a place called Pedi, and my time is almost up. They were in a place called Pedi. The woman, in a very dignified manner, comes and takes the food parcel from them. And then she tells them, talk to my children. They will tell you the taste of every plant in this area. For the last 3 months, my children have been eating plants. There's no food. Our children change different types of sweet in one day, different types of fruit, and they take the banana and they throw it one side. They take the watermelon and they bite and they leave it one side. They drink the cold drink and they don't like it and you get them another one. I'm responsible for the same thing. I do the same thing. We're all the same. And we all the kind of stuff, we spoil them. They waste the food, we don't worry. They have choices of what to eat and what to waste. But these children, and then we want to have the technology, and they've got a choice of technology what to use. These children don't know when they're going to eat next. And so when they came, very gratefully took the package of the food parcel. They went to the dumps. Can you imagine your children running the dumps when the dump trucks come and scavenging and looking for food? And they saw a child open a jam tin. A jam tin is sharp on the edge. And put his lips there to eat food. Where's the dignity? And another child takes his teaspoon and rubs it in a peanut butter bottle and tries to eat whatever is left there. Can you imagine your child doing that? Or your mother, your father? Or a child comes with torn clothes to the front of the line when we're expanding the food and says, I won't eat too much. Can you give me food to take home for my mother, my father, my brother and sister? They haven't eaten. How much do we waste in our weddings, at our homes, in our birthday parties? In the Muslim world, is guilty of 60 million tons of food being lost in the Middle East, thrown away over the year. And the child says, I won't take much food. Just give me a little, but can you give me more to take home? Is that acceptable? In a country of gold, diamonds, steel, platinum, the industry. And please don't ever ask me again, can I take zakat only? Rather keep your money. I'm being blunt. Because you don't have the humanity to help everybody, there's something seriously wrong with you. You see, when you give zakat, a gun is put to your head. Hey, give zakat, otherwise you're not a Muslim. When you give lillah and sadaqah, you're doing it out of your own free will. You're doing it out of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't put a gun to your head. But he was merciful. He only allowed you 2.5% zakat. He said, I know my people, they like money. So only 2.5% zakat, 97.5% is your own choice. And I admire the people in this country. When the COVID hit, in March and April 2020, Muslims who give zakat came to the office and said, one man came forward and said, I haven't had 1 single cent in business in 3 months. I gave you 2,500 last year. I'm giving you 10,000 this year. Because I now know what it is for other people in this country to suffer. Brothers and sisters, my time is up. My message is very simple. We need to open our hearts, our minds, our wallets, our pockets to everybody. And when you do that, when they say the people of Allah has responded, you get the blessing. You've increased the faith of people in Allah Almighty because He Himself doesn't come down here. He said as Khalifatullah, vicegerents to be His representatives on earth. We need to open our hearts as much as we open up for zakat. We need to open up our hearts for people in difficulty in this country. All homes are destroyed in the floods in East London. A mother was crying. The water reached the roof level and it burst open the corrugated sheeting. And as she cried to catch her 18-year-old daughter, the house and the daughter got washed away. And the mother could not catch that child. And the child died. And when we went there, she said, there's no house, no food, no funeral money, nothing, and I got no income. What do I do? A few days later, we found another house. 6 children were sitting in the house, a 1-year-old child sitting on a muddy floor. They hadn't eaten for 2 days. Because the father and the mother, both farm workers, got washed away in the river. Would we be happy to live like that? We've made our income in this country. We've grown in this country. We've got religious freedom in this country. Brothers and sisters, it is time for us to have what is called active citizenry. To intervene, to invest, and to hold up the lot of those people who are in hardship and difficulty. The benefit you will get, you will see in your own life. That is spirituality, that is iman, that is a gift from Allah. Thank you very much for your time. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, we at Islamia Masjid, and more particularly the Islamia Complex, which is the Islamia College Complex, are very privileged, honored to have a person of the caliber of Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman addressing us at this Jummah occasion. He's a very busy man, a man who's got, when I read, at least 4 cell phones ringing at times, and he knows exactly what to do. A man who makes us proud, very, very proud, in that as a Muslim, he is holding and keeping the bastion of Islam very high and showing to the world, not South Africa, to the world, that Muslims are there for everybody and not just for Muslims and Islamic causes alone. In my humble opinion, Dr. Ali Sableh, and I think I'm going to introduce Ali Sableh to you because he's a representative here in the Western Cape. So you know who the face is. In my humble opinion, and I'm sure if I speak on behalf of Islamia College, if there is, our 2 Nobel laureates have all gone. If there is a person in South Africa at this stage who must get the Nobel Peace Prize or a Nobel laureate, it's you and the gift of givers. And we make dua, inshallah, that you be nominated by somebody soon and get that particular prize because you deserve it. Islamia College, through its chairman, Mr. Nazir Osman, representing the Islamia College Board of Trust, is going to present to Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, the founder and chairperson of the Gift of Givers, a token of acknowledgement for the remarkable philanthropic services rendered by Dr. and the Gift of the Givers. Mr. Osman, Nazir Osman, said that this presentation was on behalf of the Islamia College and the larger community in Cape Town. The Gift of the Givers, under the leadership of Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, is recognized locally and internationally as one of the foremost worldwide institutions rendering humanitarian services. Dr. Sooliman, would you please stand up? And Ali Sableh, would you please stand up? And if you can face the community there.
Assalamu alaikum. I think it's only proper that I mention my board. my fellow board members who are here, I think it's only correct that you stand, the few that's here. Then on behalf of the board and the masjid, I'm so honored to be able to represent this plaque of gratitude to this esteemed gentleman, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, who has made us so, so proud. We can only ask Allah to protect him and be with us for a long, long time, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan to the chairman and Brother Ahmed Chawan, and to Dr. as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant Dr. all the health and strength, inshallah, to carry on for many more years to come. Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره الكافرون. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونحن له مسلمون، ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدًا عبده ورسوله الذي بشر به المرسلون، صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه الذين فازوا كلهم أجمعون. أما بعد، فيا أيها الناس عليكم بالسنة، فإن السنة تهدي إلى الإطاعة، ومن أطاع الله ورسوله فقد رشد واهتدى. وإياكم والبدعة، فإن البدعة تهدي إلى المعصية، ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل وغوى. وقد علمتم المعروف في هذا الشهر فاتخذوا سبيلا، وسمعتم المنكرات فاحذروها أن تذلكم تضليلا. واعلموا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: أما بعد، فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل بدعة ضلالة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ومن يشاقق الرسول من بعد ما تبين له الهدى ويتبع غير سبيل المؤمنين نوله ما تولى ونصله جهنم وساءت مصيرا. صدق الله العظيم. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم، ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. إنه تعالى جواد كريم، ملك بر رؤوف رحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له، ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله الذي أرسل بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يديه الساعة. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد، ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي، يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذريته. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر، وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر، وأصدقهم حياء عثمان، وأقضاهم علي، وفاطمة سيدة النساء أهل الجنة، والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة، وحمزة عسل الله وعسل رسوله. اللهم اغفر للعباس وولده مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة لا تغادر ذنبا. الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي، فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم، ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم، وخير القرون قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، وأذل الشرك والمشركين، ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين. اللهم انصر المجاهدين والمستضعفين في كل مكان. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم، وتب علينا واغفر لنا يا مولانا فإنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي، يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم، واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم، واسألوه من فضله يؤتكم، ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة،
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله، لا حول ولا قوة.
قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر،
الله أكبر،
لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. استووا واعتدلوا، استووا صفوفكم فلا تختلفوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا، فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره، إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الضالين. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب، ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب، سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله العظيم وتواب الرحيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم، ونتوب إليك ونسألك توبة ومغفرة هداية لنا فإنك أنت التواب الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، نبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام، تباركت ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وأغننا بفضلك عمن سواك. اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم يا رب الناس أذهب البأس اشف أنت الشافي، لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك، شفاء لا يغادر سقما. وقال تعالى: وننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.